1. Now we can assign the IP version 6 address to the network 2. So we can go to the R1 router. No. Enable. We can go to the global mode. In global mode we can give IP version 6 space unicast-route. Then only the router can forwards the IP version 6 traffic. Now we can go to the LAN interface fast Ethernet 0/0. So here we can enable the IP version 6 interface. IP version 6 enable. Next we can assign the IP version 6 address. IP version 6 space address 2001:234:ABC:. So the net ID is 3DF://64. Next we can give EUI-64. EUI-64 indicates extended unique identifier. So the fast Ethernet 0/0 interface we can assign the IP version 6 address. IP version 6 is an 128-bit address. So here we can mention the net ID. So instead of host ID we can mention EUI-64. That means the remaining host ID, the remaining 64 bits of host ID can be generated depends upon the MAC address of fast Ethernet 0/0 plus FFFE. No shutdown. To enable that interface, exit. Okay, in router 1 we can assign the IP version 6 address to fast Ethernet 0/0. Now we can assign the IP version 6 address to serial 0/0 and serial 0/0/1. Interface serial 0/0/0. IP version 6 address 2001:234:ABC:100:2/64. No shutdown. To enable that interface, this interface also we can enable IP version 6. IP version 6 enable, exit. Okay, now we can assign the IP version 6 address to serial 0/0/1. Interface serial 0/0/1. IP version 6 space address 2001:234:300:1/64. So no shutdown to enable that interface. So this interface also we can enable IP version 6. So the syntax for enabling IP version 6 on this interface is IP version 6 space enable. Okay, this is an DCN. So here we can apply the clock rate. So clock space rate 64,000, exit. Okay, in router 1 also we can assign the IP version 6 address to LAN network and WAN network. Now we can assign the IP version 6 address to the network 3. We can go to the R2 router. No, enable. We can go to the global mode. In global mode we can give IP version 6 space unicast-routing. It forwards the IP version 6 traffic. Otherwise it cannot be forward IP version 6 traffic. Now we can go to the fast Ethernet 0/0 interface. Interface fast Ethernet 0/0. So here we can apply the IP version 6 address. IP version 6 space address. So net ID is 2001:234:ABC:/64 space EUI-64. So in fast Ethernet 0/0 we can assign the IP version 6 address. IP version 6 address is an 128-bit address. /64 indicates the net ID. So remaining host ID can be generated depends upon the MAC address of fast Ethernet 0/0 plus FFFE. No shutdown. To enable that interface, now we can assign the IP version 6 address to WAN network. Interface serial 0/0/1. IP version 6 space address 2001:234:ABC:2/64. No shutdown. To enable that interface, so in serial interface also we can enable IP version 6, exit. Now we can assign the IP version 6 address to another WAN network. So interface serial 0/0/0. So IP version 6 space address 2001 colon 234 colon abc colon 200 colon 2 slash 64. No shutdown to enable that interface. So this interface also can be enabled by using IP version 6 enable exit. Okay, now IP version 6 address can be assigned to all the networks: network 1 LAN and WAN, and network 2 LAN and WAN, and network 3 LAN and WAN network. Now we can auto generate the IP version 6 address on the PC. Now we can go to the network 1, we can go to that particular PC. So in command prompt we can give in IP version IP configuration means using the command ipconfig. So here we can use IP version 6 config. Next we can give the command auto config, then only it automatically configure the IP address. Now we can see IP version 6 config. Here we can see, so the IP version 6 address, so this is an first 64-bit is a net ID, last 64-bit is host ID. So the host ID can be generated depends upon the MAC address of that PC plus FFFE. So the MAC address is an 48-bit address. So in that plus 16-bit is FFFE. In that MAC address is an 48-bit address. MAC address is an hexadecimal. So the first 7th bit is 0 means we can take in as 1. If it is 1 means we can take in as 0. So the default gateway is link local address. So in IP version 6, if you are assigning the IP version 6 address to the particular interface means it automatically generate the link local address.